Hey, we're here again this quite nice afternoon with James. Hello, James.
Hi, Karen.
How
Thanks
you
for.
doing? Sky looks quite nice with you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is it's a lady blackbird. You're a star. Um, it's funny. Next door neighbour's cat is about, and she just continually sounding alert. And I thought it's just like in B&Q where when they got forklifts moving about, and you got the buzzers going all the time. It's all nature's version.
Well, it looks nice. It's a
Yeah,
bit more cloudy in my sky, I think, but it's been quite nice here today. Um,
good, good.
yeah, things quite dire at the moment, aren't they, James?
No,
No, not for the
not
awake
to me.
ones. I mean, for the world.
That's It's very simple. You got basically what you've got with everything is it's been moved from one form to another. So when we're talking about nations and states, the Rockefellers and all this know this. Like it's all created from imagination, and it manifests into this reality. So if you feel fear, you're going to bring fear towards yourself. I mean, how many people have said in the past, "Oh, I cringed at that. I want the ground to swallow me up." Well, they've probably ended up, if they feel that, they're going to end up being buried in an earthquake. So I stay in my universe. There's none of these stupid madness topics. It's just like a crazy house with a distorted mirrors. But if I listened to a very good children's story, and it's so simple, and it's like we are the light. When they're talking about you are the only son, they're talking about the creator, which is inside the mind, which is connected to the unconscious, and it works on feeling. And the sun
Can
is
I
from
say
the
something there, James? A lot of people don't realise that your subconscious is that is what runs your life. You're living in
yeah,
consciousness, hopefully, here and now. A lot of people aren't, but your subconscious is your database where it's stored all the information,
yeah.
and it's
The,
worked
the,
out how it's going to live a long time ago.
it's the store eyes, the stories. Um, but what they what all they do, like I mean, Bill Gates is God. He's still part of the creator, but what he's creating is chaos, because he wanted to experience, I don't know, greed and what it's like to be. Well, hopefully he wants to be forgiven. So he's the polar opposite, and it's put out on the screens. They're only suggestions, so people enact on it by what is suggested to them. So all the things that are shown are fearful for a reason. But I mean, when we're talking about people being blind, just look at what a blind person normally has. They have a guide dog. Well, a dog is God backwards, but and it's a guide. It's acting as their eyes. But Labrador, it's El Abra door. Door is a tour. It's a gateway. They're just showing us contrasting illusions on this green screen. This is just like an app, really. um, so I've had personally.
Oh, James, I'm real.
Hey,
I'm
sorry.
real.
Yeah, we're
I'm
all
a real
we're all
person.
we're all real. It's just most don't realise they are co-creators. That's all it is. So, I mean, I've been listening to the likes of Neville Goddard, these New Thought authors from the 19th century, and I've looked outwards at everything. I mean, we can keep going over history. It is his story. It's just been shuffled up, and we can keep recreating it. But it's all about going
I think I
within.
know what you mean. What it is just by accident, because that's how it has to happen. Because a lot of this stuff's in hard copy, so
Mm,
it's books and
yeah,
documents. But
yeah.
you
It's,
stumble
it's,
across something
it,
which changes everything, which wasn't there and
mm.
now is there.
Oh yeah, that's all these things. It no matter which one you look at, the only answer you're going to get to them is everything is a lie. So it's a case of looking inward and thinking about how can you change it. I mean, my life is just a heaven on earth now. I mean, this garden here, if I'm not here, I'm in another place where there's a garden, or I'm in woodland. I don't see any of the nonsense out there at all. It's brilliant. I'm far removed from it. The, only, the only thing I will occasionally hear is the ambulance
I like
siren,
that, James.
and I think, yeah, every time
Sorry,
I
I
hear an
like that.
ambulance on, I think there goes another COVID statistic.
Oh,
It's just laughable. The whole thing is laughable. It's like I'm waiting for somebody to say something. I'm going to say, so let's get this straight. You want to put an antibacterial gel to stop a virus? Are you the sort of person that puts diesel in a petrol car? You know, it's we're in the middle of summer. Viruses do not survive in temperatures like this. It's like, what is wrong with people? They can't tell the difference between a virus and a bacteria. Are they that stupid? Or are they just going to blindly
yeah,
follow
well,
anything suggested to them?
James, we forget already, don't we, that it started off with a bat.
Mm.
Then they said it couldn't survive in temperatures. It had to be, like higher temperatures killed it off. And now a
Well,
cat's got it.
it might have started with a bat, but Charles chose to marry her. That's his choice to have as a second wife, wasn't it? The old bat.
Oh, very funny, James. Oh, it's just quite crazy, isn't it?
I see all of them as just characters like Bugs Bunny, to be honest. And I just laugh at them now because they just say anything. They love the attention. That's all I think it can be. They want to do experience greed. So the vehicle's not wearing very well, but it's funny how they're desperate to hold on to these bodies. They never retire. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, how many millions has he got? He doesn't need to work again in his life. He could enjoy himself. No, he's going through humiliation rituals in fake courts. So because they love doing that to each other. It's just another step beyond the rolled up trouser leg initiation ceremony. That's all they're doing. It's a laugh, really. It's funny watching everything out there. But
Well, my thoughts on it all, James, but
yeah,
I have to be a bit more careful right now, don't I? Because YouTube have given me another strike
yeah,
and they're just trying to hide the information I'm trying to put out there. So,
yeah. But
and as they're the ones making the rules up and doing what they want when they want and using what they want, because obviously they're the globe and they're the ones where all these, see, this person made a statement on YouTube and then our law changed. It was about a case and,
yeah,
last year. And YouTube have allowed that
mm,
because they're part of it.
oh yeah. It's well, we're just guests. I mean, it was never really meant for use by the public for our benefit. It's just another way of collating information, and they're fulfilling an obligation that
Watching
they
us.
are to.
That was the one thing that I thought was really strange when the CEO was,
Mm,
last year or the year before when she made this video. What it was
yeah,
is the only thing or people she was watching was us. She wasn't
yeah,
watching the politics. She wasn't watching what was coming from the governments and laws and the news.
yeah,
They weren't watching those people. They were just watching the people.
yeah. Oh yeah. It seems though now that they seem to be split into two factions because the way things are going, it doesn't seem that clear cut. It seems to be like a power struggle going on, which is a huge advantage to us because we're the ones caught in the crossfire. But it means they split their forces, which is a huge advantage.
It's really weird because
So,
parts of Australia have been shut down, parts of England. This is going on all the time. Other people are
yeah,
talking about businesses that are dying, and we're not. This is terrible. We're going to wake up and half our high street isn't going to be there anymore. And you're like, wow, when did we
good. The
experience
jobs
that?
are
We'd have
crap
said
anyway.
we'd been in a war to get outcomes like that. But
Yeah.
it's like we're being bought, but we can't be. But something really strange is going on.
Oh yeah. I think they're in their final death throes, as it were, and they're in a sort of panic, really. I mean,
Yeah, do you know what, James? Me and Amy have talked, and
Yeah,
I myself might go to a different platform because there's no point being on here.
yeah.
Because you're not allowed to have a freedom of speech
No.
at all. You're not allowed to have just even it's an opinion. They can use any part of any of their laws to change it for you if they
The
don't
thing
like
is,
it.
you've only got to be true to yourself. It's just getting other people to do the same thing. It's like those that say, "Well, I don't agree with the mask, but I better put one on just to conform because of what other people think." But I mean, I like these masks. I mean, I can go around places. I mean, I'm not going to hear any deep, meaningful conversations. It's going to be about, shall we get another pizza? Shall we get another case of lager? I don't want to hear that anyway. So the more they're gagged, the better. It's just superficial and it's just material rubbish that they're talking about. They're just distracted. Um, I just think the whole thing's funny, really. How everybody is, oh, we've got to do this. Well, no, you haven't got to. I'd rather stay true to myself. I ain't doing it. No way am I wearing a mask, but I'm not living in fear of something's going to happen to me, and nothing has.
The other day I went off to London and I forgot to take my scarf with me, and my daughter did have a mask in the front seat, so I took it and I didn't wear it till I actually got to the tube, and I wore it for about a minute and I thought, can't flipping believe, because it's quite hot in the tubes. It's
Yeah.
hotter down
Oh,
there. And I was just thinking, I feel like I'm trapped, like so that I just put it on my chin and I just videoed all the people wearing it I just thought I can't.
yeah, but look at what that's creating symbolically. I mean, I said to my mother, I called her Mrs. Bluebeard, and she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Look in the mirror, and it looks like she's got like an Egyptian beard." It's another one of these stupid transgender that's having blue beard now. It's like whatever next. It's so laughable. The whole
Oh dear.
the whole green screen. I mean, it can be beautiful with the nature, but I mean, all the things we're shown, like living off the land. You notice how they're like carrots on a stick. They're always just out of reach because some legislation. You can't do this. You can't do that.
I
So
listened
it's
to a
put them to the
video
side.
today, James. I put it on the Sun and Moon group, and it's
Mm.
this Australian talking, and he went ballistic, saying, "For God's sake," he was swearing, "Wake up! This is what's
Yeah,
happening." Like it's on the Sun and Moon group. It was a good video.
excellent. Trouble is, I mean, you got somebody who's like ranting and shouting. It doesn't always have the right effect.
But the thing
People
is that he was quite calm to start with, and then
yeah.
suddenly he just went slap into it, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah. I went
Yeah,
in.
but the thing is, we're
I
not
went,
going to, people need to get angry to realize what's happened to them. And then you
well,
start
I
trying,
don't
then you
know.
can sort it out in your head because it's going to hit most people at some point that then they realize. But he's just saying, because obviously he's realized. So he's just saying it. We all say what we can to do to help
The
and
thing
wake
is,
people up.
where do you direct your anger though? Because it's a negative feeling, which
Well,
is
if thousands of people see it, it might make them wake up, get angry, and then do something about it.
yeah. But if they're
I
getting
know, but
angry, they're going to
we're
want
not
to.
all laid back, James. But I think that's what a lot of people say is when you wake up, first thing you feel is anger. You're
Yeah.
annoyed. Like
Oh,
what the?
that's the point. To stand back from it. It's like, oh, this is giving me a negative feeling inside me. I mean,
Yeah, but
imagine
the
if
thing
you.
is, your head and heart and everything has to really think like
Yeah.
they couldn't lie to us.
Well, because they
No,
did.
they're there to look after us. And then the thing is that as you go on and you realize that government meant
Hmm.
in Greek is mind, so govern the mind. And then when you think it's been going on since at least if history's true, when Queen Victoria passed over, maybe she was the last Tartarian, but she passed over that power to a government, and from that moment on, that government has been governing our minds, and it's been going on for what we think now. It's probably about, I don't know, 150 years, 160 years.
Well, it's worse than that in a way because it's the ego. I mean, I've done 54 years of listening to what the ego's whispering
But
one
it
ear,
hasn't
saying,
really turned us into a very nice society. And the biggest
yeah.
thing is like a new illness now is being a narcissist.
Well, they're very easy to create, but I was going to
They
say,
didn't used to be there. There was the cowboys and everything was warm and loving. And now we have these people that are narcissists who don't have any empathy, and they see you as a source to feed off. And that's the only thing they're interested in, is feeding off you. That's the only thing. You think they love you, but they don't. And then they say, get away from them.
Well, there's a very interesting
isn't that
series of
great?
videos.
Like, if you're a narcissist, they've got to get away from you.
There's a very interesting.
Never talk to you again.
There's a very interesting series. Apparently, the deal was this guy would have gone in and serve a lifelong prison sentence, and part of his rehabilitation was to make these videos. So he talks about what it's like being a narcissist, and it's very much like that sort of chilling Hannibal Lecter. You can hear in the voice he's taking pleasure because he's getting attention. He says, leave comments, tell me what you think. He's feeding off the positive and the negative, because there's a nerve that runs from the brain to the heart. During childbirth, if the head is pulled, it snaps that nerve, and that's what creates a narcissist. There's a secondary way of creating them through childhood trauma. So the only way to deal with a narcissist is to not give them any attention whatsoever, because they will do a thing called a love bomb, where they will give you the illusion of what you want, and then they suddenly flip when they think they've got control of you. Apparently it goes through like 6 stages. I was staggered at how long term they plan out these strategies on people, and they go quiet, so you think, what happened?
Yes, that's the thing. It's like Operation You, but they don't love you.
Yeah, but they've got more than one source. What they do, they won't respond to any message or any phone call for, I don't know, maybe a week, and then over the week that your sort of concern goes to sort of anger, and they're loving it. But then they're showing a group of friends saying, look, she's obsessed with me, or he's obsessed with me. Look how many messages I'm getting. So they're colouring and flipping everything over and making the victim to look to be the perpetrator. It's so manipulating. It's incredible. But on the same hand, I mean, we can't go around viewing everybody as a potential narcissist. There has to be a point where you think, I'll give the person a chance and see how they go. But go with gut feeling. That is the best guide. The place of the sun, the solar plexus, the gut feeling. That is the creator inside telling us what is right and what is wrong. The truth or the right answer is always the highest possible answer. I mean, you can make this is like an unlimited ticket in a fairground. You can go round as many times as you want. There are no right or wrong, good or bad choices as such, but some of the choices come with consequences. But it's the highest choice, that do unto others as you expect to be done to you, is the only one you need, really. But it's the ego. I mean, 54 years of that talking to me, and it's like, well, it's never given me any good advice so far, so I ain't listening to that anymore. So I've been going inward, and I've been listening to myself, really, and the conversations going on in the head. So if someone,
it's a little bit annoying though, James, isn't it, when a lot of people don't even realise that's what they are.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, what I think it is what it is a narcissist is somebody who doesn't realise they're angry.
Probably.
And I remember this old lady saying to me, what it was, she was trying to explain to me that some people even get angry about the weather, and she couldn't understand that because you can't change the weather, so why get angry with it? And that's when she knows they're angry inside. They've got an anger inside.
Mm.
And that's the thing with a narcissist. They don't realise that these things happened to them when they were younger.
Well,
and they didn't deal with them. They don't know what they are still, even as an adult, because they're lost in their subconscious and don't realise that subconscious is running their life. But for me, so my poem, I'm not saying I'm perfect. We all have off days, or you have to remember. But that's when I did my soul search in my 20s. And I went back to about the age of 2.5. I didn't mean it to happen like that. It just kept like a film, but running backwards.
Yeah.
And then suddenly all these things that you didn't understand or didn't know as a kid, there they were, like as your version. It wasn't being said through your parents' eyes, for instance. You have to, it's good to face yourself, because if you don't know who you are, who's running you, who's doing what, because
Yeah.
you are. But a lot of people like to push that responsibility away and pretend it's someone else's fault.
This is it. There's also the aspect of how your parents brought you up. It will depend on how they were brought up and how they interact with the information they're given as well. So
yeah, well, most families, my looking at things was that most families are dysfunctional, and I looked at it slightly differently. But the First and Second World War ruined relationships here because we all were in roles at that point. And then when the wars happened, the women were doing the men's job, and then life changed a bit. And then when the men came back, it didn't go back to the way it was. And a lot of divorces have happened, not because of the 90s, 200, 210, 2010. This was happening in the 1918, 19 roles. So now nobody knows who they are. I mean, you only need me really for the fertilization, and you don't even have to be present for that anymore. And, after the birth, so obviously the woman has to give birth, but after that you can bring the children up, or me. We're not doing it together anymore. Some families do. It still happens, but I'm saying it's a lot more different now maybe than it was, say, 100 years ago.
It's all designed, as you said, it's all designed purely to this illusory screen is so to make it difficult to find the answer, which is really simple, is who we really are. And we are all God. We are all the creator. We are co-creators. This original source that created
if you know
everything.
who you are, imagine the life you'll have. If you don't know who you are, imagine the destruction life you're going to have.
This is it.
Where everything's dysfunctional. And the other thing was that I got into realizing that everybody was dysfunctional. Families were dysfunctional. And, I in the future sometimes it'd be nice if you could meet a different James. He's from New Zealand and he's into the 8 laws of anxiety, that they made anxiety to rule us because they make a lot of money because people get prescriptions, go to counsellors. And what he was saying was that someone thinks that they're giving you wisdom, but they're not. All they're actually giving you is their anxiety. So
that makes sense.
You understand what I mean. So you think it's wisdom, but it's not. It's anxiety. And so, I just remember the little story of the little boy that was beaten, was treated horribly, was constantly called useless, thick, and stupid. He grew up one way. But the other child who was loved, and the parents were going, no, it's okay, you can be angry. It was my fault. That child, through that kind of bringing up, grew up into a totally different person with different eyes and a different brain, knowing who they were right from the beginning.
Thing is, though, I mean, if going back to school years, if you've been other children have said harsh words and told you you're stupid or whatever, well, who's carrying that sentence? It's only if you believe what they're telling you and you feel that inside you, then feel like that.
Oh, James, we're heading towards the subject I like, psychology. When you're born, right, there's 4 stances in life. There's I'm not okay, you're okay. That's a baby, and the baby doesn't feel very good, so you pick the baby up, then it feels good. So that kind of stuff. Then these stances will happen before the age of about 3. Then comes, you're not okay, but what's it again? One of them, I'm not okay, but you're not okay. And then there's another one, well, I'm okay, but you're not okay. Now, all those stances happen between the age of about 1, 2, and 3. And some of them are happening because now you're falling over. Now, you've fallen over. Now, instead of getting loved and cuddled, you're being told off for being falling over. And not just that, mum's now pregnant with another baby, so you're shoved a bit further down the pecking order. And the child takes all these things in. And those first 3 don't trust anybody. They wouldn't trust a counsellor. They're not going to listen to anybody talking to them. They're going to be fixed because of this 1 to 3-year-old. And now they're 30 and don't realise that the 3-year-old decided how they were going to live their life. That's in the subconscious. That's what I'm saying. It's so important to sort your life out. I'm not saying everybody had these childhoods, but because I thought, oh no, I had a great childhood. It's a bit like
Yeah.
then the glass gets shattered, and then you look at it and you think, I had a really horrible childhood. Sorry, it was horrible. Um,
But
and the last stance is I'm okay, you're okay.
yeah, that's the
And a
thing.
lot of people don't get there.
That's the thing. I mean, it's like we're so easy to project out and blame the parents, but it's like, well, what did they go through? What shaped how they decided to do things as well? That all comes
Hey,
into it.
James, that's really good if you and your parents are doing it. But if only you are doing it, you end up understanding your parents, but your parents still don't
Yeah.
understand you at all. And do you know what? Listen to this. This is another book. She's called Yolanda Vandervert or something like that. She's obviously not English. I've got another one of her books up there, but she did this book on a house. And so there was
Yeah.
the basement, the first floor, second floor, third floor, and attic. So what she
Yeah.
tried to explain was that most people live in the basement. It's cold,
Yeah.
dark, and dingy down there.
Yeah.
No one knows what they're doing. Everybody's bumping into each other, and no one knows how to get out.
Yeah.
And she said
That's
that's where
about
the
right.
majority of people live their life, in the basement.
Yeah.
But when you get to the first and second floor, it's not that you've completely sorted your life out. Now you know what the problems are. You might not have sorted them out. Now you're sorting them out. And by the time you get to the attic, you're in
Yeah.
unconditional love
Yeah.
because you've
That's a
understood.
very good analogy, that one. It's like
Yeah,
sort
but the
of,
basement's where most people spend their life. They don't know what they're doing, where they're going, who they're bumping into.
yeah,
Oh, it's your fault. They don't know how to get out of there, what to do.
they're not sorting the basement out in the first place, so they're never going to get to the next floors.
And it's dark and dingy down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's facing the shadows version of yourself, really. Everything is all in the mind, really.
One of the hardest things, I think, was when I was about, like, I don't know, I was quite young when I realised nowhere was here now. Like, you just can't get away from it. You're
Yeah.
always here and now. But, you know, even me, I'm not saying I'm Miss Perfect. To understand this, I must have gone through it. But, you know, you
Yeah.
fill your life up with all these things that are useless and worthless. And, you know, like I used to watch all the soap operas. Get out of the way, Cell Block H is on. You know,
Oh,
I know I'm watching
oh,
it.
yeah.
But
That is
then you
broken.
realise that those things are absolutely worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. They mean nothing. The thing is, we live in a world. Yeah, we're on screen, aren't we? So, I mean, this should be able to see that rose. Now, I can do one of two things with it. I can appreciate its beauty. I can pick up on the beautiful frequency of the color, or I can start dissecting it and start going in and look how it's made. I'm not going to do that. They do pick up on energy. There is an interaction. It said if you smile at the plant, it will smile back and it will grow.
Yes, James, I watched this video. It basically said if a plant feels like it's been attacked, like someone's come and wrenched all these branches off of it or leaves off of it and that,
Yeah,
it always recognizes that it's going, they're coming, they don't
yeah,
want that person anywhere near them again.
yeah. They do. I mean, trees has been it's been proved that they do actually sing and they communicate with each other. Um, it's whether you see this world as wonderful and full of wonder, or whether you want to be fooled and wander.
Do you know
I
what
think
though? The trees are doing it electromagnetically.
yeah,
And
their
I think
antenna
that's the
basically.
saddest thing. Do you know what that was for me, James? I
Mm,
was looking into these fractals, you know, like when you put electricity on wood, it does the same thing.
yeah,
But I suddenly realized, oh my God, there's no leaves on the trees. And suddenly in front of me was all these trees. And I thought, oh my God, the trees, they're the same. They're electricity.
yeah, their antenna basically.
Mm.
I mean, I got my own
Most people
forest
don't
going on
even
here.
know that. And do you know what? I saw a video the other day. I'd never really thought about them, but I suppose if bees hover, they said
Yeah, yeah.
bugs, you know, like beetles and that, they hover. They're the
Well,
same.
bees work. They fly on sound vibration. That's anything that's got that buzzing sound. They've got holes on the sides of their body. Apparently, it's the sound vibration that actually gives them the lift. Same as a helicopter. The wings are just there for guidance. But then you've got things like spiders that can go 1,000 miles on air currents and things because their
Yeah, they
legs are
fly a
actually
little bit
having
differently,
antenna.
but do you know what? That would really worry me if, say, a bee comes at me at 50 miles an hour, or I'm suddenly like, oh my God, there's a spider in my face.
Yeah.
Slap. It'd be like the film Alien.
It was bad. It's bad enough on a push bike doing a newspaper round and getting headbutting a bee. That hurt. So yeah, 50 mile an hour, not recommended. And we need the bees anyway. So.
Well, maybe they're trying to change our electromagnetic force, and that's why the bees are sort of slowly disappearing.
Well, this comes down to the this great vowel shift that Paul on Black Sheep Research talks about, changing the from the A to the E. So, I mean, if you replace the E with an A, you've got all act tricks instead of electrics. It is all an act. It's an electric. It is an electric universe of frequency for definite. You can feel the energy in it. It's amazing. And I think everybody can relate to. You go outside and you feel that sunlight.
Well, you're talking of the Ethernet, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like this is like an
Well,
open.
it's all
And I'm not
frequency.
saying everybody can tune into it. I'm not saying I tune into it all the time, but sometimes I can feel things. They come through the air
Well, I like the
before
saying. I
time.
like the
That I'm a bit psychic. They come before time. The time it
yeah.
happens. You get
I
an
like
inkling. I don't
I
always
like
know
the
what it
saying that.
exactly is, but then I go, oh, that's what that was.
Hmm, I like the saying about the creator being everything and nothing and all the space in between.
James, what is
Um,
the creator? We live in the most supernatural place ever. Who the hell made us?
well,
Do you know what we're like? We're almost like a Blade Runner.
hmm.
We
Well,
just
the
last,
way
we
to look
just
at it,
last a bit longer, but we're like a Blade Runner from the
the
film
way to
Blade
look at
Runner.
it is where it's impossible to see the creator in every form because it can be a mountain, it can be a river, whatever landscape you look at, you're not going to see all of it. You'll see aspects of it in different forms. We are a form going through an experience. We're a soul in
Whatever
a
the creator is, there's got to be more than one of them, or it's huge. This thing, absolutely huge.
well, it's huge, but it doesn't have a physical form. It resides in all of us. We're in a dream within a dream, really. Um, it's it's
Great.
talked about
So that's why no one can
the
sort their
only
lives out because they're in a dream in a dream.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're in 2 days, aren't we? Asleep or awake, but are we still asleep? Which is really awake? Which is really asleep?
I think one of the
Really?
most horriblest things is that, you put as you grow up, you've got all the cowboy and Indian films and the war films, and you've gone to the moon, and lots of programs are happening, and you're quite happy with the television and all that. And then you suddenly realize that it's all just a program to manipulate, just like we watched with Arnold Schwarzenegger when he went to
Yeah,
Mars. Because we're on that thing, we know who the baddies are because we're watching the film.
yeah.
And then he kills someone, and then he opens the door, and then there's a news report on a television with the baddies on it.
Ah, I don't think
So
I've
that's
seen
where
that
we
one.
are. We're in the same place. The baddies are on the television telling us what to do.
Yeah, they're only suggesting things, and then people enact on it from what they believe in. Um, this is
Do
why
you know what
I mean,
else
this.
is really like not freaked me out, but these OBEs and MBEs, they mean something else. That's like a different kind of army regiment sort of badge.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's a KGB one as well, and like those, I was thinking, God, I thought they were actors, but they're not. They're a myriad of things.
Well, they like all their accolades and praise and things, all the superficial awards. Through it, it's through every stage of life. Um, I think probably everybody in the UK can think of a particular family, and you think there's nothing wrong with them. They're getting the highest rate of disability. They've been given the best house in the area, and that's all done by design to cause resentment and divide us on each other. They've just sold out really easily. They think they're getting one up on the system, and when the system's had enough of it, they discard them because they're suddenly being splashed all over the
The
papers.
system doesn't work, and
Benefit
you
fraud,
know,
doesn't it?
I had to wait. The bank wouldn't give me my information. They said they lost it. They sent me to the ombudsman. The ombudsman made me wait 5 years. And when they did my case, they said, sorry, we can't help you because of the time now. It's 5 years, it's too long.
Oh
So the
yeah,
ombudsman are being paid to do nothing. That was before
yeah.
I hit
Oh yeah.
the other subject, but I was like so shocked to think, oh my God, millions of pounds are paid to a
Yeah,
government body to do nothing
yeah.
except fob the people off. Because it's
It's
not my
all
fault the
tricks.
ombudsman took 5 years. I sent my form in. If they can't help you, what have we got? We've got nothing. And I realised that before, a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I spent a long time.
Anything.
Because what it is what they did was they put PPI on a card of mine, but I never asked for it and didn't know I had it. So I wasn't included in the PPI fiasco as far as I was concerned. They had put wrong charges on my account and thousands of other people's accounts, and it needed to be amended that way. Different law would have covered you. They also broke all these acts because basically when they know what they've done and a computer is giving you the wrong information about you and it's mirrored on different computer systems, it's affect your credit rating. So it breaks the law that way. And it goes on and on. I've listed all these things and I'm just a simple person. I listed all these reasons why, what they've done. No, I got included in the PPI fiasco, which it wasn't. When you put wrong, you're billing people wrongly.
Yeah.
That's an what do you call it? That's an in the bank error. Nothing to do whether I signed a piece of paper and wanted the product. I didn't buy the
No.
product. They wrongly charged me fees that weren't mine. And
Well, the
basically, it
trouble
was
is,
all different law. But anyway, I didn't win because an ombudsman, people might not realise, is as high as a judge. They've got the same powers as I told. Independent assessor sits above them. She's looking at
yeah,
their conduct. I told her what they were going to do to me, so it went back to a senior ombudsman who just didn't look at it at all. And actually, the ombudsman broke the bank, breaking the law because the bank gave information which they said they didn't have, and the ombudsman made a decision on my case without me seeing it. So the ombudsman caught them
yeah.
breaking the law and didn't do anything. So it's
Well,
like, what a
it's all system.
double whammy is that? So I send it off to the independent assessor, who then goes in my favour, but she can't change the decision of the case. So what's the point of having her if she has no jurisdiction to override what the ombudsmen have decided, but just tick them off and say you didn't treat this person correctly?
Well,
When I told her this was going to happen. So that's when I realised the ombudsmen are being paid to do nothing.
Well, you didn't read the rules of the game. It's like Monopoly. The bank and the banker owns all the properties, the whole board, all the utilities and all the railway stations before you start playing the game. As soon as you sign.
I know, but there are these laws. It says when a bank knows when it's done and it's their error, they should give you back anything and everything to do with the loan, the whole thing. No, that all just got whitewashed. And
But
they use
they're bringing something
consequential
else.
loss. So consequential loss at High Court. So they put me in there, and basically you have to be absolutely homeless for consequential loss. So
Well,
they give and they take it away. So they're saying, yes, we agree with it. But do you know what's really crazy? For everybody who took that PPI, the only people it didn't work for were the self-employed. So I never took it for that reason. But I was now signed up to something I never signed for that was wrong fees on my account. And I got put into the PPI fiasco, which it wasn't. It was a bank putting wrong fees onto my account. It was something completely different. Doesn't matter what product it was. It just so happened to be PPI. But I didn't buy the product. It was wrong fees put on my account. It was totally different. Anyway, I was so annoyed, James. In fact, I still feel annoyed because I know I got them.
Well, that's.
But they cheated and they deserve. Can't wait for the world to crumble. I'm sorry.
Well, the whole system is like
It's broken.
they don't. It doesn't give. It never gives anything. It will appear to give something. I mean, like this technology, but there's an ulterior motive, an opposite reason for everything, that they don't tell us about. normally in the terms and conditions or in the small print. But the onus on us is to sort of read every word. But the thing is, when you're in the system as soon as you're registered, and anything that's certified or registered is all part of the system. We're committing fraud every time we use this legal fiction, for example. So you'll never beat the system with the system's rules. You can't beat fire with fire. So it's looking at it and finding other ways. We've got imagination. We've got the ability to
So I
create.
just find it really incredible that this is happening to us
when
we're being run by computer programs.
Yeah.
They're not people, they're computer programs.
Yeah. Well, we've got the advantage.
I'm not saying that some of it isn't real footage of when they went to that fete or that whatever it was, but most of it is all made for us each day. It's
Definitely.
a great big program.
So
and it's planned a long time in advance.
It's all a film on a screen. And most of it you can't personally verify. I mean, it's like this thing about, I think there's a bomb or something gone off in Beirut. It's like, well, I don't know. It's not in my reality. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, but it's all theatre. So I'm not giving any attention or energy to it.
Hey, James, I can't put the video up right now. It was going to be a continue, like me and Marilyn went away for a few days to the beach.
Yeah.
And although at first of all, because we know that France is below us, so we're saying south, they think, well, that's north then. It wasn't, well, I don't, the reason I know it, I just think England lies on its side.
Yeah.
That's why the sun went what looks like north, but it wasn't. It was kind of going west, but it's because England's lying on its side. But we were looking at France and it was a bit high. I just couldn't get a compass to work. But, like the sun was going off in a completely different direction to me.
This is all a screen of illusion. I mean, what you've got in the sky.
And this. We saw the moon. We saw it. It wasn't there, and then it was there. It wasn't far off the water. It went up.
Yeah.
It took a while to go up, and then basically it went into the clouds. But then suddenly in the clouds you could still see the moon. It went across the sky, which we thought was kind of west. It was a west. Well, I don't know what way it was. It was very south because we saw it in London the day before. So it's 80 miles away down there off in the sea, or 90 miles away because it's in the sea between me and France. Yeah. And in the morning when we woke up, instead of it going off, say, right, it had done a 45-degree turn and now was going the same way the sun went.
This is all on a screen.
There's no way the sun circles. Absolutely no way it circles.
You got to come back out of this. I mean, like Mercury, right? Everything that is on this screen above us is a reflection of what's going on inside us. Now, Mercury is associated with commerce. So what are they trying to put in the human body with injections or fillings? It's Mercury. All these things they tell us about the planets, about the iron and everything and the composition of these things, it's what's going on inside us. We are our own universe inside. We are affected by the magnetics of these floating bodies. We're not separate from it, and that's a fascination, but it's all there for us to interact with in infinite possibilities. You can go through bad experiences and you can allow them to hold you down and have the victim mindset, or you can rise above it and think, no, I'm stronger than this. I mean, I'm still going through this. The aspects of the self I don't like. And it's horrible because the ego then is trying to go the other way and trying to justify itself. But it's like, I'm not the vehicle. That's less and less to listen to that, because that's not going to give me good advice. I'm looking at, let's create, let's co-create, let's build the world we want around us individually, and then we sort of interact with other people on the same frequency. I think that's the advantage we've got. Nothing the dark side, or what is perceived as the dark side, always lacks imagination. It's repeat scripts over and over. This is where we have the advantage. We have imagination. That is the only nation there is. It's when they talk about created in the image of God, they've changed the word. It's imagination.
Hey, James, and communication.
Yeah. Well, that's the breath or the word as it's described. It's just different frequencies of the same thing. So But it's interesting, the subconscious and what that throws up. I found, like, when I've tried to meditate, something will pop into the mind, and that's a form of creation, because the mind is like an egg, and that's the seed that's getting through, and it's like, where did that come from? That's nothing to do with what I'm trying to meditate about. And that is the subconscious just throwing anything up, or the deceiver within us. The ego mind is like, I don't want this, I want to hold on to myself. You can see this is with all these so-called elites. Why this is why they're all like in their 90s and never seem to die, because they're so greedy, and they're so of that polarity where they need that, they want to hold on to that power, just like a narcissist wants to hold on to the attention, whether it be good or bad. So they don't care one way or the other. I'm gonna have to cut this short soon because the battery's going to go on this phone, and I've got to go and get fish and chips apparently.
Oh, anyway, we have covered quite a few subjects in this short. Well, it's 45 minutes. That's quite a good hangout.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. It always goes by too quick though, doesn't it?
It does. But anyway, James, thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
I appreciate you inviting me on. It's nice to try and get a message out there and give people something positive and a way of looking at things in a different way. I would recommend anybody goes on, try the Brian Scott channel, listen to the writings and the lectures of Neville Goddard. It's what the Rockefellers and everybody used and amassed their wealth, just purely from what he's saying. And there's a silver thread of these writers. I mean, some of it I've only got at the conceptual stage, but it is really worth absorbing. And I'm doing, like it said, I'm testing out. That's how I managed to get this phone from nothing to now. 6 days later, I've got a phone. But you have to be careful what you manifest. I thought to myself, I've never tried doing healing on myself. Then what happens? I twist my ankle. But that's been a positive, because it's given me a chance to sort of sit down and just go inwards and start sort of pulling myself apart and looking at things in a different way. And 2020 has been the best year ever. It really has. It's wonderful. So I'm looking forward to what comes next, because it's all a great big joke, most of it. It's so funny.
Well, on that note, James, thanks very much. We'll say goodbye to each other off air, but for the hangout, thanks a lot, James.
You're welcome.
To James, to chat room.
Thank you for everybody who's taken time out to listen as well.
Thank you.